Okay, today we're going to take a quick look at multiplying fractions. Now, we've done adding and subtracting, which are actually much trickier. Multiplying is the easiest of all the operations, because all we need to do is multiply the numerators, the number on top, and that will be our new numerator, and we multiply the denominators, the number on the bottom, to give us our new denominator. 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 6 is 18. Now I'm going to simplify. You should always simplify fractions in your answers, because I see that these are both in the 2 times table. So I'm going to divide them both by 2, and that's going to simplify to 1/9. Now when I'm multiplying fractions, I'm going to show you this same calculation again. These are quite small numbers, so that didn't really cause me any problems. However, it's much easier if we can simplify before we multiply. It saves us getting into large numbers. So at this point here, I can look and say, are any of the numbers on the top divisible by any of the numbers on the bottom? So is there any common factors, any common times tables that I can see? And I see that both the 2 and the 6 are in the 2 times table. So I'm going to divide each of those by 2. And as long as I've done the same on the top as I have on the bottom, then I've not changed the value. I've just made an equivalent fraction. So now I can do the multiplication. 1 times 1 I've got this time on the top, and I've got 3 times 3 on the bottom. So that will give me 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 3 is 9. And you can see that we get the same answer, but I've been able to do the simplification at the beginning. From now on, that's the way we'll always do them. Okay. So let's try a couple more examples. 2/3 multiplied by 1/10. So before I do any multiplying, I'm going to check the top and bottom. So the numerator and denominator. Can I see any times tables that they're both in? Yep, these are both divisible by 2. So I'm going to head and divide them both by 2. And now I've got 1 times 1 and 3 times 5. Okay, let's try the next one. So 4/3 times 2. When I'm multiplying a fraction by a whole number, I can think of it in a number of ways. A whole number is like a fraction over 1. So just for ease, I'm going to put that in so you can see what we're doing. And then the same rules apply. So I'm going to check. I don't see anything common on the top and the bottom, because on the bottom I've got a 3, and a 4 and 2 are not in the 3 times table, so I can't do any simplifying there. So 4 times 2 is 8, and 3 times 1 is 3, which gives me 8/3. Now it's simplified, but it's top heavy. Now depending on what you're doing, that might be fine. We're going to take the opportunity to change this into a mixed number, so that I know that for one whole number I need 3/3. So I can get 2 of those, because that would give me 6/3, and I'll have 2 left over. If you're not sure about converting between top heavy and mixed numbers, have a look at the other video on that one. Okay, we'll do one more, and we'll use slightly larger numbers just to see how this works when we've got some bigger numbers. So we've got 35 over 34 multiplied by 17 over 42. Now again, I'm going to look to cancel beforehand. Now I can see that 35 and 42 are both in the 7 times table. So I'm going to go ahead and divide those both by 7. 7 times 5 is 35, and 10 times 6 is 42. 17 is a prime number, but I'm just going to check multiples of 17, because I don't know my 17 times table off by heart. So if I double it, I'm going to get 34. So I could see that that's 2 lots of 17, and that's 1 lot of 17. So now, rather than having to do 35 times 17 and 34 times 42, all I need to do is 5 times 1 and 2 times 6, which seems much easier. So 5 times 1 will give me 5, 2 times 6 will give me 12. And I've got 5/12. The answer's simplified already. Okay, I hope that's helpful. So remember the rules. We multiply the numerators. That becomes our new numerator. We multiply the denominators to become our new denominator. We always simplify. If we can simplify before we multiply, it makes the calculations easier for us.